When you walk through a cemetery or a churchyard, do you ever stop and read the gravestones? Do you ever think to yourself, who was that person? What sort of life did they lead? Well, I do. Welcome, my name is John Austin and I'm the Gravestone Detective. Welcome all. Today we are at Willesborough Cemetery in Kent, so let's go and see who we can discover. So this is the gravestone that's grabbed my attention today for a couple of reasons. One, it's more or less standing on its own. As you can see, there's just the wall along the side but no other graves around it. And secondly is because of this anchor and rope at the top, quite prominent on the gravestone. So is this someone connected to the Navy, to the sea, a mariner maybe a fisherman? Look in, we can see the gravestone belongs to Fanny Ann, wife of Adolphus Whitehead, formerly of Brenzett, that's in Kent, who died February the 28th, 1897, aged 63 years. So, let's go back and see what we can discover about Fanny Ann Whitehead. Right, so here we are ready to research Fanny Ann Whitehead. Let's remind ourselves what the gravestone told us. Fanny Ann, wife of Adolphus Whitehead, formerly of Brenzett, it's in Kent, who died February the 28th, 1897, aged 63, which gives us a date of birth of 1834. 34, 35, around that. What drew me to this gravestone was this anchor and rope emblem. So this gives you some kind of clue. Maybe are the Whiteheads something to do with the sea, the Navy, a mariner, a sailor, fisherman even. So let's research and find out. So let's put in the information we already know. Her name, Fanny, and get rid of that. Whitehead, birth 1834 in Brenzett, Kent. Now obviously Fanny Ann Whitehead is not a birth name because she was the wife of Adolphus, but got to start somewhere, haven't we? Right, let's go. Super fast broadband here. Right, and here we go. Now, before anyone starts writing in the comments, seen a day ago, seen today, I've not cheated. Basically, I'm so poor at video editing at this point that this is about the 300th time I've recorded a video. So, I'm not cheating. I'm just very bad at video editing. Right, the 1861 census. What's it tell us here? Fanny Ann Whitehead is Fanny Ann Burgess. Why is it Fanny Ann Burgess? So if we click on here, and here we go. Fanny Ann Whitehead, wife of Adolphus Whitehead, mother-in-law of the head of the family is Mary Burgess, which tells us that Fanny Ann is Fanny Ann Whitehead née Burgess. We've also got a niece living in the family. So let's have a look at the 1861 census. And here we go. They're in Brenzett in Kent. Let's look at the top of the page, in the hamlet or tithing of Brenzett. Living in a house in Brenzett. That's nice to know. Although I have seen before records where people were living in a field or living in a barn. So it's nice to know that they're living in a house. And here we go, Fanny Ann Whitehead, wife of Adolphus, 26 years old, born in Brenzett in Kent. Adolphus is a master wheelwright. Not what I was expecting. Like I said at the beginning, that gravestone had an anchor and rope on there, which suggests something to do with the sea. But Adolphus Whitehead has nothing to do with the sea. He's a wheelwright, unless he's building wheels for boats. I wonder if he builds them a ship's wheel. Makes you think. Makes you think. You say you wheelwright, you automatically associate carts. But I wonder if he's making wheels for boats, you know, the steering wheel. What do you call that? A steering wheel. Has the boat got a steering wheel? A ship's wheel. Anyway, makes you wonder. So that's in 1861. Now, on Ancestry, I'm not plugging, I'm just using it at the moment. They will give you suggested records. Basically, what Ancestry is doing is picked up the record we looked at and said, hey, have a look at these. These might be of interest to you. Definitely worth looking at, but make sure you do your full research. Don't just look at them and think, oh, that's automatically the person I'm looking for. So that's 1861. Let's look at 1871. Fanny Ann Whitted. Fanny Ann Whitted. Did she? And she's there with Adolphus Whitted. But lucky enough, it appears they have a son called Frank Whitched. Sometimes these transcriptions do make you laugh, what they write down. But as you can see, this is our Fanny Ann, 1835, born in Brenzett. Let's have a look ourselves. Fanny Ann, Fanny Ann. There we go at the bottom of the page. So they're living in Brookland, which is basically just outside Brenzett in Kent. She's down the road. And here she is, Fanny Ann Whitehead, living at Finn Farm by the looks of it. And she's a dressmaker. Fanny Ann's now got herself a job. Good old Fanny Ann. Don't suppose you was a Coco Chanel type dressmaker, but I'm sure they were very nice. Adolphus Whitehead, a former wheelwright. So he's packed up making wheels, he's had enough. But what's he doing there? I can't read that. Can you read the occupation of Adolphus Whitehead? If you can, please write in the comments below. Please tell me, what do you think in 1871 Adolphus Whitehead was doing for a living? Although we have to say it has been crossed out. So it's obviously been corrected at some point. Right, anyway, looking at that record, we saw that there was a son, Frank Whitehead. Where is he? Now, obviously, if you're looking for someone on the census and they're at the bottom of the page, please turn over. Even if you're not expecting any other family members, turn over the page. Because obviously, there are records there you could find. And like in this case, the 1871 census, on the next page, here we have Frank Whitehead, the son. So he's born in around about 1863 in very scruffy right in Brenzett. Trust me, that does say Brenzett. So there we go, 1871. There's a family living together. Husband, wife and son. That's 1871. Have they got a suggested 1881? Yes, we have. Here we go again. Fanny Ann. Let's follow her life on. 10 years later, 1837. Living in Brenzett. But now living in Hunton. Hunton is further north. Further north towards Maidstone area. And she's no longer with Adolphus. Let's click on the 1881 census and see what it can tell us. And here she is, Fanny Ann Whitehead. She's now a servant and she's a widow. Adolphus has passed away between the 1871 and the 1881 census. Frank's not there either. When was he born? Around 1863, so he would be about 18. He's left home, or she's kicked him out. But she's on her own there, Fanny Ann. She's a housekeeper at Mill House in Hunton. Check. In the civil parish of Hunton, Mill House. We have a miller's wife living there. So she's living in a mill, as working as a housekeeper, looking after the home. Obviously, if she's been made widowed, she's got to obviously find occupation for herself. She's got to find her own work, support herself. And being a housekeeper, she's obviously going to be taking in a wage, and also she's got a roof over her head. Because remember that this is 1881 in rural Kent. There's no social security. You can't go and bang on and ask for your weekly gyro. She has to work, and she's found a job. Well done, Fanny. Right, what happens to her after this then? 1881. The 1891 census. Here we go. 1891 census. We find her. Birthplace Bremsit, New Romney. Birth year 1838. I thought it was 1834, 35. She's saying she's younger than she is. Well, we're never going to ask a woman her age, are we? It would be rude. We're not going to do it. I certainly wouldn't do that anyway. So Fanny Ann, where are you? There you are at the top of the page. So she's now living 10 years later from the 1881 census, 1891. She's living in Preston, Faversham. What I think I know, Preston is a district, is now a district of Faversham, but obviously back in 1891 was probably independent of Faversham. So she's moved about a bit. South Kent up to Mid Kent, if you like, around the Maidstone area, and now moved to East Kent, the Faversham area. But again, she's working as a domestic housekeeper, looking after the home of Frank Lett, who's a single 35-year-old. Was there something going on between Fanny Ann and Frank Lett? Good on you, girl, if you are. Come on, we've all got our needs, I would say. I don't know. Sorry, Fanny, if I'm being rude. I'm sorry. You might. That's purely a professional arrangement. I just clean the house. There's no nookie going on here. Sorry, Fanny. Right, so she's living at 24 Mall. That could be Mall Street, Mall Road. In Preston, a district of Faversham, again a domestic housekeeper, 1891. Now Fanny died in 1897, so obviously we're not going to find her on the 1901 census unless they're listing ghosts. But Faversham is quite a distance from Willesborough, where we found her grave, Willesborough Cemetery. So has she got from there, Faversham, to Willesborough? What I want to do is I will look at the 1871 census, weren't it? It gave us all the links. There we go. That's it. That's where we found Frank. So let's follow Frank, because we know Adolphus died between 71 and 81, so we're not going to get any clues from that. But Frank, 1871, 1881, we know he's not living with his mother. Let's see, is this our Frank? He was born around about 1863 in Brenzett. Is this our Frank? 1862 Brenzett, here we go. And he's living in Faversham in 1881. Where we then found Fanny Ann living in 1891. So it appears that Fanny Ann has followed Frank to the Faversham area. Where's Frank? Frank, where are you? Frank, there we go. Frank. He's living in Faversham, in the village of Green Street, Faversham, and he's living in a grocer's shop. Obviously above a grocer's shop. I can't imagine he's sleeping with the bananas, but he's saying that it's a greengrocer. Grocer's shop would sell anything, so maybe sleeping with tins of beans. If tins of beans were invented in 1881, I don't know. Were tins of beans invented in 1881? There you go. There's another question for you to answer. Please write your answers down in the comments below. I really do appreciate all and any comments you wish to make, good or bad, but please be nice. Right, so here we go. Frank Whitehead. He's an assistant in the grocer's shop, and yeah, here you go. Obviously, he's a grocer's assistant. So that's 1881. Living in Green Street, Faversham. Doesn't. We're looking for clues. He's had did Fanny Ann get to be buried in Willesborough. Right. Right, there's no other records here. All the links, suggested records, appear when we look at the 1871. So we go back to the 1871 census, and Frank Whitehead, 1891. Now we're getting closer to the 1897 death date of his mum, Fanny Ann. Frank Whitehead, Brenzit, 1860. Ha ha! Here we go. Oh, God. Sound like Alan Partridge there, didn't I? If anyone knows who Alan Partridge is. Aha! There we go. Don't know why I've done that. 1891 census. Frank Whitehead is now living in Willesborough. We've found the link between Willesborough and Faversham. And there we go at the top of the page. Albemarle Road. That does say Albemarle Road because I do know of Albemarle Road. So if I never, I would have to say that's not the neatest of writing once again. But here we go. Frank Whitehead. Still a grocer's assistant. 10 years on. Obviously living in another grocer's shop. I can't imagine he's commuting to Faversham in 1891. Come on, Frank. Get your own grocers. You ain't got to be an assistant all your life. You can do it. So, here we go. He's living in 1891. Frank Whitehead, son of Fanny Ann, he's living in Faversham. Let's see, 1901. Frank Wilchill. I'm making the assumption that, again, is a poor transcription and someone has edited it. Edited it. Here we go. Frank, 1901. Born in Brenzit. Still living in Willesborough. Are you a fully grown grocer now, Frank? Or are you still an assistant? Where are we? Frank. Here we go. Frank Whitehead. Still living in Albemarle Road, Willesborough. Oh, you're not a grocer no more. You're a bread maker. Journeyman baker. Gave up the groceries. I'll make the groceries. That's what he said. So he's man making bread. Journeyman baker. Well done, Frank. He's moved up in the world. Right, so by looking at these records, we've seen why Fanny Ann was buried in Willesborough, because obviously only living family is Frank, and he's living in Willesborough. But why is there an anchor and rope? Why is there an anchor and rope on that gravestone? When I started this, I thought we're going to find a connection to the sea, to the navy, mariner, sailor, even fisherman. It was Adolphus Whitehead. It says wheelwright. Was he making ship wheels? Was he making, the steering wheels? I still don't. Again, please put in the comments, what are they called? Ship. It's just a ship's wheel, I believe, isn't it? Is he making them as a wheelwright? Is that the connection? Or could it be? Here's a thought. Just to know, when you're researching, there are only so many records that you can look at. You've got to fill out gaps in between, like the 1891 census to the 1901 census. What happened between that time? You've got to use your imagination, possibilities, probabilities. What happened? Why did it happen? Because not everything is written down. Now, I'm going to suggest something. Tell me what you think. Fanny Ann Whitehead died in 1897. Frank goes to the stonemason and say, "Excuse me, mate, I need myself a gravestone for me mum. She's died. I'm burying her here in Willesborough. I need a gravestone." And the stonemason turns around to Frank and says, "Right, Frank, I'll tell you what we could do. I could do you a lovely gravestone, 30 bob. It's going to cost you 30 bob." And Frank said, "Oh, come do me a favour. I'm a journeyman baker. I ain't got 30 bob. How am I going to pay for that?" So stonemason says, "I'll tell you what. I've got a gravestone here sitting in the corner. It was ordered by an old sailor boy. And an anchor and rope put on the front of it. He's paid for it but hasn't come and collected it. You can have that one. I could do that one cheap. You can have that one for 10 bob." And Frank's gone, "Yeah, go on then. I'll take that one. I'll have a 10 bob gravestone." Is it possible? Does that sound possible? Probable? That Frank has bought a second-hand gravestone, basically, because it was cheaper. I don't know. Or is there a connection with Adolphus being the wheelwright? I don't know. It makes you think. Right. So hang on. So we've had Frank. I'm still looking at Frank. I don't want Frank. I want 1871 Frank. Why do I want 1871 Frank? Because there's all the links. All the suggestions come up on the 1871 census. Here we go. Fanny Ann Whitehead. Whitehead. Oh my god. Right. Let's find Fanny Ann. 1871. Aha. Let's look at this. Fanny Ann. Suggested marriage in London. Right, so let's look at this marriage in London. And there we go, Fanny Ann Burgess. Father of William Burgess married Adolphus Whitehead in St John's, Horsley Down, Bermondsey, Suffolk, England. Well, there you go. They got married in London. Although marriage record says Surrey. But we all know Suffolk is south of the water, London, south of the River Thames. And back then, anything south of the River Thames was either Surrey or Kent. London, what we know of as today, was within the city walls of London. Outside of the city walls of London is Middlesex, but it's all London. Borders change, boroughs change. Right, what am I looking at? I'm waffling on, I apologise. Here we go. Adolphus Whitehead, wheelwright, married Fanny Ann Burgess, spinster, at St John's, Horsley Down, Bermondsey, on the 23rd of March, 1857. John Whitehead was one of the witnesses, along with James Frederick Johnson. So they've not run away. They've not eloped, by the looks of things. When was she born? 1834, we said, wasn't it? 1834? Which means she's 23. She's not run away. She's not a child. They're off for wage, which in 1857 would be over 21. They've not run away. Their family members are witness. Maybe they're just working in London. Maybe they could get an appointment quicker in the church at London. Don't know. 1857. See, this is where you have to fill in the gaps with possibilities, probabilities, assumptions. Right, 1851, Fanny Ann Burgess. Is this Fanny Ann? Oh, the speed of my computer. Born 1835, Brenzett, William Burgess. Yes, we know it's William Burgess from the marriage certificate. Living in Brenzett. There we go. William Burgess and Fanny Ann. William, what was William doing? William was a farmer. Oh, so Fanny Ann is a farmer's daughter. Using 300 acres and employing 6 men and 2 boys. So a big farmer. Got a big farm. A successful farm. If he can employ 6 men and 2 boys, he's doing well for himself. Well done, William Burgess. No address. You notice no street names or anything like that. Brenzett's not the biggest place, so maybe some of the streets weren't named. You know, where does William Burgess live, Governor? Oh, he lives down there, down the road in the White House, or down there in the big farm. Sometimes never had street names. Sometimes the They just didn't write them in. The enumerator, he didn't bother. Oh, they live in Brenzett. Everyone knows everyone here. What you could do, sometimes you will see ditto down the lines. You know, the two little lines. You see ditto, which means that a street name has been written on a previous page, but they just couldn't be bothered to write it on following pages. So go back a page. What are we going to do here? No, there we go. That's the first record from Brenzett. So let's go back. So William Burgess, first record for Brenzett. So there is no street name being put in, no obvious farm name or description of the building, but just they were living in Brenzett. Fanny Ann, what else can we find about Fanny Ann? So we know from 1851 to 1897. Oh, we got a selective births in Fanny Ann Burgess. There we go. Daughter of William Burgess, mother Mary. Baptised Brenzett in Kent. 7th of September 1834. There we go. So it is 1834. September 1834. Obviously, that is not her birth date. Please don't write that down on your records. Fanny M. Born 7th of September 1834. That's her baptismal date. Now, you can make a strong assumption that she was certainly born in 1834. Baptisms usually took place 2-3 months after the birth, so you can make an assumption she was a summer baby. Summer of 1834, late spring, early summer baby of 1834. But remember, that is not her birth date, that is her baptismal date. Now, seen down here another suggested record, 1841 census, Fanny Burgess. So we click on there, Fanny Burgess, and again, Brenzett. I think Ancestry has done my work for me on this one, so thank you, Ancestry. William Burgess and Mary, loads and loads of children, and Fanny appears to be the youngest. So let's click on this record for the 1841. Again, the first name that comes up for the Brenzett, parish of Brenzett, the first name. That was on the 1851 census we saw they were the first family recorded. And same, wait a minute. So 1841 register census doesn't give you a great deal. It was the first full census that was done. Doesn't give you a great deal of information. It gives you family details. I say family details. You know, looking at that record, is that could be man, sister, niece, nephew, daughter, James, son, daughter, granddaughter. You don't know. It doesn't tell you. It just tells you the family unit. It also don't tell you where they're born. Were you born in the same county? Now, Brenzett's in Kent. So, William was born in Kent, yes. Mary was born in Kent, yes. The rest of the children, no. But Fanny Ann was, because we know Fanny Ann was born in Brenzett. So, 1841 census, the first full national census. Not my favourite one. It doesn't give you a great deal of information. And also, the 1841 census, just to make you aware, when you was asked to put down your age, you were only asked to put down your age within 5 years. So we can see William and Mary, were they born in the same year? They're both 50 apparently. Are Thomas and Louisa twins? Or are they triplets? Thomas, Louisa and James are all 15 years old. Now they're either triplets or they're all born within 5 years of each other. So, like I say, use it as a guide. Because remember, that you never had a birth certificate. Birth certificates didn't come into 1837, Civil Registration Act. So come 1841, Thomas was born 1826, Louisa 1826, James 1826. They haven't got birth certificates. You can't look back. William can't be saying to wife Mary, here, when was Louisa born? Oh, God knows. Get the birth certificate out. No, she hasn't got one. So how old is she? Oh no, what, about 15? Yeah, that'll do. So yeah, within 5 years are their birth dates. That's all you had to write down. So that's it. 1841 up to 1897. What I will do now, I will leave Ancestry. We'll go to another site, another well-known site, and we will look for, as you can see, I'm not cheating. You type it in, and records come up. I have had a quick look. Like I said, I'm so bad at editing. I've had to do this a dozen times. I hope this one's right. I really hope this one's right. I'm getting tired of how many times I've looked for Fanny Ann. Right, here we go. Fanny Ann Brenzett, 1834 in... Fanny Ann Brenzett? Fanny Ann Burgess. Born 1834 in Brenzett, Kent. Let's have a look. What records come up for Fanny Ann on an alternative search engine webpage? All web pages have their pros and cons. I use one for one set of records, one for another set of records. They all have their pros and cons. And when records come up like this, the first thing I like to do is click on the year and put them in yearly order, so I know what I'm looking at. Alright, Fanny, 1833, All Saints in Lydd in Kent. No, Fanny Ann Burgess, baptism, Brenzett in Kent. Here we go. Well, we found a baptismal record and it's September 1834. But now, like I said, sites have pros and cons. One pro is they hold different records to other sites. This one appears to have Fanny Ann Burgess, Kent baptisms. St Eanswythe Church, Brenzett, Kent. We don't need to look at the let's look at the image. We know she was baptised September 1834. Where are you? Fanny Ann Burgess. Fanny Ann. And there we go. September the 7th, 1834. Fanny Ann, daughter of William and Mary Burgess. Born in Brenzett. Occupation the father. Farmer. So there you go. An actual copy. A copy you can keep. You know, you can download this record and keep it for yourself. 1830. That looks in good condition for an 1834 church baptismal record. And it's nice to know as well the name of the church. St Eanswythe. That is the first St Eanswythe, however. Who was St Eanswythe? I'll probably look that up because that's just my curious mind. But if you know, without having to look it up, again, please write some comments in the box below. Who was St Eanswythe? She had a church named after her. So, final thing I want to do is, these are all the records. Let's look for there's nothing really, anything else there. We've looked for Fanny Ann as a Burgess. Let's look for Fanny Ann as a Whitehead. One record. Fanny Ann Whitehead, 1871 census. We've looked at that, we've seen that. Right, let's look at where she was buried. Willesborough. What am I doing? There we go, Willesborough, Kent. There we got more records, 6 records. Obviously you can look for her we know she was living in Faversham, so you can put a search in there. Willesborough, look for Fanny Ann Whitehead, location Faversham. So what we got here again, 1897, a death, and that's, yes, we've got Kent burials. So if you're looking for records for Kent, use this site. If you're looking for other records, use the other site, or use both sites. I don't favour one over the other. They're both good. St Mary the Virgin, Willesborough, Kent. Again, the name of the church. Let's click on this record. You can see, yes, I've clicked on it before. I know where the record is. Please don't hate me. Right, and there she is down the bottom of the page. Fanny Ann Whitehead. Buried the 5th of March, 1897. Now she died the 28th of February. So, buried 5 days later. Or 4 days later. If was 1897 a leap year? How many days in February in 1897? There you go. More questions. There are more questions than... Oh, no, I won't sing to you. Trust me, you don't want me singing to you. There you go, 6... from Willesborough. So she could have fallen ill, moved in with Frank, lived with Frank for a while, and then sadly passed. But there we go. Oh, hang on a minute. Top of the page. Fanny Ann Whitehead, newspaper report. I love newspaper reports. Oh, it's great finding records in the newspapers. Where's it got? Now, again, newspaper. Right, hang on. It's jumped to the article. Oh, it's an obituary. Whitehead, February 28th at Madeira Cottage, Willesborough, Fanny Ann Whitehead, formerly of Faversham. Yes, we know that. That's where she was living on the 1891 census, aged 63 years. What I love about newspaper reports is they're not always going to be your person. This could have possibly not have been our Fanny Ann Whitehead. You know, there's a lot of common names. If you're searching for a James Jones, you're going to find them thousands and thousands of records of James Jones. But I just love you stumble across other stories. That's what I love about newspaper report. Adverts, stories. Yeah, I like it. What have we got here? Hotel Windsor, Victoria Street, Westminster. Special notice. Electrically lighted throughout, day and night. Well done. Modern tariff. Table to hot at separate tables from 6:30 to 8:30. There you go. Adverts. Advertising. They got electric lights. 1897. We got electric lights, and they're on throughout the day and night. Brilliant. Well done, Hotel Windsor, Victoria Street, Westminster. That's what I mean. There's so many, and you stumble across stories. The amount of times I've stumbled across, you see a headline: murder, ruffian, transported. I love them transported. It leads you on to something else. So there you go. We've searched Fanny Ann Whitehead. No direct connection with the sea, as we first thought. Lived a quite normal life. She had one child. Husband died reasonably young. She moved, got jobs as a housekeeper, support herself. At the end of her life, came back to live with her son, or certainly in the area of her son, and was buried in Willesborough. Nothing over exciting, I'm afraid, but this is what you find. These are normal people living normal lives, and that's what I want to do. I want to discover the lives of the dead. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please do leave comments. Tell me what you think. Please subscribe to my channel. I really would like this to grow, and like this video. Let YouTube know I like this one, and YouTube might be nice to me. Thank you. I will now leave. Carry on watching the rest of the video. I will leave all the documents up that we've discovered. And once again, thank you, and thank you, Fanny Ann Whitehead. You are now remembered. Goodbye.